Well, hello, this is TeacherBot. I'm here on the long weekend, and you're going to get my mug so you can get to know me since you're on the online class. So thank you, AI folks, for tuning in, CSC 113. I want to walk you through a bunch of things. First of all, welcome. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to have you in the class. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. One thing I want to let you know is the first half of the class is figuring out what you want to use AI to help you with. And the second half of the class is actually implementing that project. So if you've never made a project before, don't worry. If you ever threw some sandwiches in a picnic basket and went to the beach or the lake for a day, that was a project. You just didn't know it. So we're going to organize things. I want to walk you through all of this stuff. It's not going to take very long. Let's start with GitHub. So once you've got an account, I'm going to make a new repository. And yours can be called CSC 113, but I already have one of those. So I make mine a little bit different because I have one every semester, but you don't have to do that. And I'm going to say this is CSC 113 AI Fundamentals. And it's going to be public, and I have to have a README. So if you can't use your repository, you probably didn't click this. So I always like to go back and say, I like the name, it's available. I have this turned on, I'm happy, I'm going to create the repository. Now, what on earth would I use a repository for? Well, I can put files in it. If I hit add file upload, I can just drag and drop and I can add files. And you have to put a reason here, but it gives you a default. You commit the changes, and that would be a way you could put that there, okay? I'm going to ask you to put all of your prompts and results here. So I'll do one right now and I'll show you how to do it. So I'm going to use good old G Flash or Gemini. Let me switch it back to Flash and make it a little bit bigger. And I want to say here, let's see, explain why my instructor Okay. I would like to see if Flash figures out what I'm thinking. Yes, great, good. So any company you got hired at, they're going to have you use version control. They're going to use their own tools. Usually the first few weeks at a job, you're not expected to do anything but show up and do what you're told and figure out how the tools work. Even if you're a 10-year seasoned developer, that's usually how it works. But the idea here is we're going to be making a project, so we want to have a way on the internet to share information. One thing I love about this is that if you make a mistake, you can always undo it. You don't have to go find the old version or hope you kept one somewhere on a flash drive. And there's some great things here. I do like the fact that it pulled up and said, hey, how do we do prompts? That's kind of useful. Let's make a new chat. Go over here. I'm going to I want to show you this one because it's kind of neat. So under gems, which are just pre-made, the learning coach is pretty good. So you might hear and say, how could I find out what kind of things I use every day are surely AI-powered? Right? I think it's a reasonable question to ask. So the learning coach is just going to set up a way of, breaking the problem down into pieces and then going through. So here you go. So if I wanted to go with that, I'd say, yeah, sounds good. Or I could just say, that's fine, but please explain it like your Sherlock Holmes, but also a zoomer. That's probably going to be incomprehensible. It totally ignored the fact that I said zoomer, which is a relief. It didn't really do much of this. Cool, right. I have no voice, but I understand yours. I can find the answer to any question, but I have no brain of my own. Sounds like Google to me. Yeah, of course. It's the Google product, so I'm not going to mention Siri. But anyway, I don't know if this is super useful, but I wanted to show you that you can walk through all these different things. And by using that learning coach, it's kind of guiding you. We're going to learn in later modules how to actually make brand new gems because you can add files, you can add instructions. I'm not going to do any of this yet, don't worry. I'm going to just say, yeah, sure, great, good. But if I wanted to make myself a little Sherlock Holmes to help with GitHub, or I wanted, in this case, somebody to help me with my garden, I could make a specific gem. A gem is just a custom agent. If agent sounds fancy, it's just a prompt with some things attached to it. There's some really neat stuff here you can do where you can create storybooks. I'm not going to load you through this whole one, but I think it might be kind of useful to look at. I'm not going to play the whole thing. But what I wanted to walk through was somebody who knew Minecraft and could understand what it would mean to go from making your own stuff to trying to work together on a team. And so, they're like, oh, we're going to build a simple wall to stop the zombies. You don't have to read this whole book. I just wanted to point out that you can do all kinds of things with Flash, and they're kind of useful. You could make some pictures, lots of options. Okay. What are you going to actually use Flash for? I don't know. What do you teach? What are your other classes? You should try to figure out what's something useful you need and just say something like this. I'd say, what are some ways I could use system gems to help with my, I'm going to say nursing classes. Let's try that. If you're curious, you can always click on the thing to see how it's figuring it out. I'm going to leave that a surprise for now. And so it's saying here a gem is just a specialized version. You've given information, so you could give it course material, maybe make it like a friendly personality, and set some rules. Now this is getting super fancy because now it's into a specific thing for a specific nursing exam, right? But I imagine somebody would find this useful. Pharmacology class, I could see that. So flashcards. Well, imagine if you're not doing nursing, you're doing something else, then you're going to want to run through that. Well, now what would I do? Let's say I like this information and I want to keep it. I'm going to say that was pretty cool. So I'm going to copy that text. I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to make a new file. And I'm just going to do it right here. I'm going to say nursegems.md. MD is called Markdown, and I'm just going to paste all that text in there. Markdown is just a way of making these little symbols look nice. If you leave that off, it's a little harder to read. So I just called it something and put .md on it. I'm going to commit those changes. I'm pretty happy with that. Pretend my robot didn't write that for me, okay? Because I have some extra AI tools turned on. But usually you'd write some message yourself. Okay, so I'm going to commit that change, and now when I look at my class, hey, I have this whole document. And if I wanted to cut and paste it, I could copy the raw file and I could paste it somewhere. So one thing you might do in your discussions, if you find something neat, save a copy of the chat. I think you can like share chats too, but I think putting it in your own files, because eventually you're going to have 100 chats, and like there were 10 that were really useful. So having them in your files will be useful. Now that I clicked on this, I can just go up here and actually grab this link. And let me prove it by opening up a different browser real quick, that this should work even if I'm not logged in. And sure enough, so I can put some files here, I can share them. And again, I'm not going to go with the nursing thing, but just hopefully somebody's got an idea of, oh, if I did this for my classes, for calculus or physics or whatever else you're doing. If I go back to my repo, I have lots and lots of repos, so I can get kind of confused here. But it will usually put the one you just worked on up top, and I'm going to put star on here because we're going to be having a good time working on this throughout the semester. So let's see what I did here. I looked at how to do the GitHub, GFlash, and the last thing I wanted to show you is Dr. Andrew Ning's class. If you do enroll, I'm going to ask you to go through, do it for free. If they ask you to pay to do the quizzes, just don't do the quizzes. But when you go through, you're going to find that this is, I'm going to probably use the Google one. Let's see. I'll even watch you can watch me log into it. Looks like I'm good. Great. So now if I want to go through, all I need for this first section is week 1. So you're probably going to have, I would say, a few videos to watch and like 10 minutes of stuff to read, and you can skip the assessments. I just want to know that you looked at the material. Let's see if my Coursera is happy now. Yes, it is. Cool, great. I'm just going to show you Dr. Ng real quick. I'll mute this. But he's very approachable. If you want to turn on subtitles, I think we can do all that. Let's do English. And he kind of goes in and say, well, people are worried about getting replaced by AI. Let's look at ways to be positive about it instead, right? Which hopefully, somebody is thinking, well, if I'm training on AI, I'm less likely to get replaced by AI. And I fully agree with that. But I'm not going to have you watch this whole video with me. I just wanted to show you the steps. As you get through this module, we'll have some fun with building a gem that doesn't work very well so we can debug it. But thank you so much. I really appreciate you watching this video, and I hope that you're going to enjoy the CSC 113 class. And thanks for watching.